And good morning. Good morning, second hour. We made it through the week. We made it to Friday. We are here. We do not have a lot of content to talk about today, which is pretty nice. We did a majority of the balance of payments yesterday, which is pretty cool. So we won't be on stream too long. I only got a couple slides I want to show you guys, and then you guys are going to try your hand at problem set 5.2, and then you guys are going to be able to, have any remaining time left over to complete the Unit 4 test. People's audio all good? Is the music too loud? Because I kind of can't tell. I feel like the music's too loud, but I can't tell. Have you decided on what you want to do for the midterm? I was planning on starting to study this weekend. I don't know. People, I want to be worried about the midterm. I don't know. I don't know what to do about the midterm because next week's, to be honest with you, is going to be kind of a hectic week. Oops, let's change this a little bit. Because we also had to do our EDPs. We also have to do EDPs next week. And foreign exchange will probably take us like 2 to 3 days. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? We have things to do. And then, we have EDPs, like Thursday. And then, we got to figure out this thing called this final exam. I don't know. Now, this weekend, people, what you need to do is complete the Unit 4. You need to complete the Unit 4 test. That's what you need to do this weekend because the Unit 5 test is gonna be posted like Wednesday, right? So like if you're waiting, a long time to take Unit 4 test, you're gonna be taking 2 tests at the same time, all right? But at this time, I wouldn't worry too much about my final exam, right? Allocate your scarce time into your other 2 classes. If you're gonna get a big final exam for those classes, right? My final exam, we'll see. If I end up truly giving you like a legitimate final exam and like a multiple choice kind of thing on like Go Formative, I probably will round it like quite heavily. You know what I mean? I'll probably just give you guys big boosted points. Because I really don't want to give you guys a big final exam. You guys have been working hard, and I want you guys to focus on 4 and 5. That's kind of like the game plan. So do not be studying like crazy for the final exam. No, the final exam has to be like cumulative, right? I have to assess your learning on everything. So again, teacher discretion a little bit, right? There's a multitude of ways in which I can do that. So at this time, people, do not worry too much about the final exam. Let's do virtual just dance for our final exam. Anything better than just a normal final exam, I would say, because people, I do not want to put a bunch of questions on Go Formative, and I just think it causes a lot of undue stress, right? Stress that we don't really need right now, right? Especially before the holidays, right? But so that's kind of where I'm at on that. So to answer your question, I didn't really have an answer for that, Maddie, but yeah. So the Unit 4 test, I did not post it yet. I will probably post it about halfway into Google Meet because I want you guys at least do your problem set a little bit, and then you can start working on that Unit 4 test if you want. Remember, problem set 5.1 is due tonight, and like I said, people, we're almost done. We're probably only going to have 2 more problem sets after today, all right? And then we got to knock out some other things. My email's blowing up. What's going on over here? Oh, Mr. Frey. Just kidding. But yeah. What's up? All right. So let's get your question in your question of the day. Your attendance in the chat. Now we've done an attendance in the chat similar to this. It was, what do you think's the best invention of all time? Let's do this one instead. It says, what is one invention that you wish you could uninvent? Right? What is one invention that you wish was not actually invented? And explain why, right? What is one thing that you wish was never invented that you'd be perfectly happy living without? I would uninvent school. No. No, you would not want to uninvent school. We'd have even more uneducated, population, right? Which would be even worse, right? It'd be like the worst thing ever. We're already in trouble right now because our population's heavily uneducated. What is Life 360? What is that? Standardized test. That's a good one. I like that one. What is Life 360? AirPods? Yeah, I've never been an AirPod person yet. I'd rather just have like nice headphones, like, you know, wired, but like it's nice, you know, good quality. Needles, I hate them. Dang. Speaking of needles, people, my knee is really messed up. I don't know if I've ever told you guys that, but I might have to go to the doctor soon. And I think what it is called swollen knee. And I think what that requires is you need to get your knee drained because there's fluid in there, which requires a big needle sticked in your knee, right? I don't know. Riley says iPhone screen time. She'd rather just not know. That's a good one. Aiden says technology, you know, as a whole. All right. That one's good. We want to be able to teach online, though. Then what are we going to do, right? Wisdom Teeth. It's an app your parents can use to track you. Wow. People, one in the chat if your parents use that app to track you. One in the chat if your parents actually use that app. I never even heard of that before. You know, I can see the safety reasons for sure, right? Tracking apps. That's pretty crazy. If my parents had a tracking app when I was in high school, I mean, I didn't do bad things, to be clear, but that would be different. I don't know, that would be different for sure. Michael says social media. That's legit. At all times, Jack specifies. Most of the social medias. Man, it keeps like going away. Chromebooks, because then we want to be in school right now. People, I don't like the Chromebook. I don't know how some of my colleagues teach off the Chromebook. A lot of my teacher friends, they teach off the Chromebook. That would be crazy. All I use my Chromebook is to view your chat. That's the only usage of my Chromebook, is to see what you guys are saying on here. Tracking apps, man, it's crazy. Social media. The limits the healthcare system has, so more people can get the help they need by professionals. Like that, Cindy. Reddit. Hey, Reddit's pretty cool. I like Reddit, actually. I like Reddit. Modern school institutions are boring. Let's go back to the old days of being merchants. Oh, and the Electoral College is a good one. Electoral College is a very good one. I'll take that one, son. I'll take that one. Electoral College. There's another, what else is it? I think having, requiring 2/3 of the Senate to undo an amendment is like kind of insane. And people, you know what we also should get rid of? Why, when a president is elected, there's months of like nothing, right? You guys know why that's the case? It's because it used to take the incumbent president time to travel on horse to get to the White House, right? Why is the president elected, November, and we got to wait till January, right? And then like nothing gets done, especially in important times right now, right? Why is that a thing? All right, why don't we just change that? Because we can't, because it requires 2/3, right? Man, that's crazy. A lot of you guys, Cindy puts a lot of ones in there. A lot of you guys have the Life Tracker app. That's intense. Screen time on iPhone needs to go away. I don't even know how to say that word. Hey, people, let's just get rid of plastic. How's that? Polyethylene bags? I don't even know how to say that word. I've never even seen that word before. Chemistry, bye. I feel like the phone eye tracker isn't as bad as Life 360 because it isn't as accurate. So Life 360 gives you a pin right where you're at. That's intense. Huh. Anyway. All right, people. Hey, but most of your parents probably bought your phones, right? So they're probably like, yeah, it's gonna happen, all right? But no, I can see why. Most of you guys probably wouldn't like it, all right? All right. Let's get into it. Like I said, we're not going to be on here all that long. We're going to be chilling for a little bit, talking about the determinants, right? Like what changes the balance of payments. And they're right there. Hold on, I gotta center this. Or else it's gonna annoy me. Oh, I can't center it because it's whatever. It can also track your speed when you're driving. Wow, that's crazy. Holy smokes. I gotta check this app out. Anyway, all right, so Common changes to the balance of payments, right? So today you're going to notice on your problem set, and this is kind of like the end game, right, of balance of payments. The last and final thing you need to be able to do in regards to the balance of payments, right, is if there's any change to incomes or interest rates or price level or currency appreciation or anything like that, it's obviously going to change the balance of payments, right? You know, it's going to incentivize people to buy more or less goods in other countries, or more or less bonds in other countries, or, you know, give more, you know, people an ability or less of an ability to buy goods in another country, etc. Right? So I'm going to give you the most common changes to the balance of payments, and sure, right, there's probably others, but these are the most common ones that you're going to see that you really need to know. So most of these are going to affect the current account. But remember this, right? When the current account changes, the capital account also changes. You guys remember that, right? The current account changes, the capital account also has to change as well. Let me just kind of go back to here real quick. Let's use this one as an example, right? So again, just kind of a little review from yesterday, right? We have two accounts, right? We have the current account and we have the capital account. Remember, the capital account is also called the financial account. Please do not let that mess you up a little bit. And then, yeah, the current account includes balance of trade. So any good or service is going to be in the current account, right? Someone's buying a good or service. If it's an export or import, it's going to be in the current account. Net investment income is all about making money, income from owning a business, right, in another country. Net transfers is transferring money from one country to the other, right, and receiving nothing for that, just simply wiring money, for no good or service coming back. And then the capital account is all about bonds, stocks, and real estate. Stocks, bonds, and real estate, right? That's the only thing really in the capital account. So are foreigners buying more of our assets, or are we buying more of their assets, right? So remember the balance of payments always equals. And remember, if you decrease the current account, that's going to increase the capital account. You have to remember that, right? Like if Bill buys a sandwich, from Somalia, right? Bill's getting the sandwich, Somalia's getting the money. That's going to decrease the current account. So therefore, it's going to increase the capital account for the U.S. because the Somalians are going to turn around and they're going to buy our assets, right? Is the idea. Mr. Moore, what a silly example, right? Anyway. So again, remember, if one account changes, the other one has to change. But we're trying to figure out which one changes directly, and then the opposite is going to happen to the other one. My speed at 90 miles an hour. All right, so here are the biggest changes to the balance of payments. So these four are going to affect the current account. All right. So whenever you get any change to either of these four, the key, right, to figure out what happens is just ask yourself, right? Are Americans gonna import more or less, right? Are Americans gonna import more or less, or are foreigners, right, gonna buy more or less stuff from us? Are we gonna export more or less, to foreigners, right? So the biggest thing I do is are Americans gonna import more or less? That's kind of like my key to solving it, right? So let's say U.S. incomes go up, right? U.S. incomes increase. All right, what's going to happen to the current account? Well, if U.S. incomes increase, yeah, Americans are going to buy more American goods, but that has nothing to do with the balance of payments, right? But also, Americans are going to buy more foreign goods if we have more incomes. So, if U.S. incomes increase, the current account would decrease. All right, if U.S. incomes increase, the current account has to decrease. Why is that? Well, Americans are going to buy more foreign goods, right? We're going to import more. Right? We're going to buy more goods, thus more money is going to leave the U.S. to get those goods, thus the current account balance is going to decrease. It's going to decrease the balance of trade, thus it's going to decrease the current account. I hope that makes a lot of sense. If Brazilian incomes increase, right? People in Brazil, their incomes go up, right? They're going to buy more American goods. If they're buying more American goods, more money is going to enter into the U.S., right? The current account in the U.S. would increase, more inflow. All right, so you just got to ask yourself, who's buying more of what, right? If U.S. incomes go up, our current account's going to go down. If foreign incomes go up, our current account's going to go up, right? Because they're going to buy more of our stuff. So, I'd write this down. Okay. Number two, if currency changes, right? If currency appreciates or depreciates, this one's going to be a big one because on Monday we're going to learn about foreign exchange, right? We're going to learn, you're going to be given scenarios and you're going to identify what happens to currency, right? Whether currency does appreciate or depreciate. So this is always going to be, the follow-up question on a unified, FRQ item, right? They're going to start you off in foreign exchange, which we'll learn about on Monday, and then the next questions are going to say, okay, well, what's going to happen to the current account, right? What's going to happen to the capital account, right? So let's run some examples here. Let's say the U.S. dollar appreciates. The U.S. dollar appreciates, right? That means the U.S. dollar is stronger, right? Americans can buy more foreign goods. If Americans can buy more foreign goods, that's going to decrease the U.S. current account, right? Again, because if we're buying more foreign goods, right, more money is going to leave the U.S., thus it's going to decrease the value of the current account, right? What happens to the current account or capital accounts? It's all about is money leaving or going in, right? Let's say the U.S. currency depreciates, right? Our currency gets weaker. Well, we're going to import less. We're going to buy less foreign goods, so thus less money is going to outflow, less money is going to leave the U.S., thus the current account is going to increase, is the idea. Say a foreign currency changes, right? Let's say the Japanese yen appreciates, right? Well, the Japanese are going to buy more U.S. goods. More money is going to inflow into the U.S., and it's going to increase the U.S. current account. And then alternatively, right, if the Japanese yen appreciates, we're going to buy less Japanese goods. We're going to import less. Same thing, right? The U.S. current account would increase. All right. Number 3 is tariff rates. Now, we have not talked about tariffs. This is the first time you've probably seen that word, but I think you guys know what a tariff is. It's been in the news a lot the last few years, right, because we've been increasing tariffs on various countries. But a tariff is a tax on an imported good. A tax on an imported good, right? So if we increase taxes, and the whole point, real quick, the whole point of a tariff is to protect domestic consumers, domestic producers. To protect domestic producers, right? If steel workers in the U.S. Can't produce steel at a lower price than foreign producers of steel, right? What they're going to do is they're going to call up their local politician, be like, hey, we're experiencing unemployment in the steel industry. We can't compete with foreign producers. Can you please tax any steel that enters into the border? Thus, we can be more competitive and people will buy more American steel. That's the idea. But just remember, right? Most producers, most businesses are also consumers, right? Ford is not going to be in support of steel tariffs, right? When steel tariffs increase, it's going to hurt Ford because Ford's got to pay more for steel. It's going to cause unemployment in Ford, right? Unemployment in the automobile industry. However, it's going to create more employment in the steel industry, right? So just remember that. All tariff. If we tax foreign goods, it doesn't help all businesses in the U.S., right? It only helps business in the U.S. that actually is in the same industry as that good that's being taxed, right? That foreign good that's being taxed. Just remember that. But anyway. So, if we increase tariff rates, if we increase the tax on imported steel, right, what's going to happen? Are Americans going to buy more or less steel? Well, Americans don't really buy, so let's use more of just like a regular good, right? Let's say we just tax all Chinese goods, right? U.S. and China kind of been battling a little bit. So let's say the U.S. taxes all Chinese goods, right? What's going to happen to the U.S. current account? Well, Americans are not going to buy as many Chinese goods, right? Because Chinese goods are essentially going to be more expensive. They're going to be a higher price because of the tariff, right? If every time a Chinese good enters into the U.S. border, right, Chinese producers are going to be charged $10 or whatever the tariff rate ends up being. They're charged, right? They're going to put that on consumers. Consumers are going to have to pay higher prices for those Chinese goods. And if Americans pay higher prices for Chinese goods, they're going to move away from Chinese goods. Thus, they're going to buy more American goods, and that's the whole point of a tariff. So if the U.S. increases tariff rates, the current account would increase, right? Because we're going to buy less foreign goods. Less money is going to flow out of the current account, okay? If China increases tariffs on American goods, right, we're going to export less goods. The Chinese are going to buy less of our goods. Less money is going to flow into the current account. Thus, the current account is going to decrease. All right? If you guys got questions, make sure you put them in the chat. All right? Last up is price level, right, which we've dealt with a lot, right? If price changes in one country, it doesn't change in another country, right? If U.S. price level goes up, are foreigners going to want to buy our goods? The answer is no, right? So we're going to have less money flowing in, thus the value of the current account would certainly decrease if the U.S. price level goes up. If U.S. price level decreases, right, foreigners are going to be incentivized to buy more of our goods. If foreigners buy more of our goods, more money is going to flow into the U.S., into the current account. The current account balance would increase. Okay? That makes sense? I don't want to go too fast, but I don't want to go too slow, you know what I mean? It's hard when there's no direct feedback. So that's the current account shifters, right? That's what happens to the current account. But remember, if the current account changes, the capital account will change in the opposite way, right? So let me run back and do this example again. Let's say U.S. price level decreases, right? So we know that's going to increase the current account because foreigners are going to buy more U.S. goods. The current account increases if the U.S. price level decreases. Well, if price level decreases, and that means the current account increases, that's going to mean the capital account is going to decrease. The capital account is going to move in the other way, right? That's the idea. Americans are going to get more money, right? They're going to buy more foreign assets, is the idea. So if the current account moves towards a surplus, the capital account has to move towards a deficit, is the idea. But all four of these are going to affect the current account first, and then whatever you did to the current account, do the opposite to the capital account or the financial account, okay? And then there's one that affects the capital account first, and obviously after you change the capital account, then you're going to do the opposite to the current account, is interest rates. Interest rates are always going to affect the capital account. So what I want you to ask yourself when you get a change to interest rates is where's the best place to buy a bond, right? Where's the best place to buy some sort of interest-bearing asset, right? So obviously, any interest-bearing asset, is going to be in the capital account, right? Or anything else that would affect, stocks, right, or real estate, right? But it would have to be like the U.S. stock market is much more profitable than the Chinese stock market, right? What's going to happen is there's going to be more inflow to the capital account, right? Foreigners are going to want to get involved in the U.S. stock market, right? So it could be other things other than just interest rates, but interest rates are definitely by far the most common one you're going to see. And when you see interest rates, right, ask yourself where's the best place to buy a bond, right? Because bonds have interest rates tied to them, right? So if U.S. interest rates increase, right, maybe we decrease the money supply, or maybe we're using contractionary monetary policy, right, something like that, right, that would cause interest rates to increase. You can see this follow-up question: what's going to happen to the U.S. balance of payments? What's going to happen to the U.S. capital account if interest rates increase? Well, if interest rates increase in the U.S., that's going to incentivize more inflow. That's going to incentivize foreigners to buy more U.S. bonds, because now our bonds are more attractive than foreign bonds if our interest rates increase and theirs don't change, right? So if interest rates increase in the U.S., the capital account in the U.S. would have to increase. And then remember, if the capital account in the U.S. increases, the current account in the U.S. has to decrease, has to move towards a deficit, okay? If interest rates in the U.S. decrease, right, maybe we're using expansionary monetary policy, right? So the follow-up question is, again, what happens to the balance of payments if interest rates fall? If interest rates decrease in the U.S., well, where's the best place to buy a bond? Not in the U.S., right? If interest rates do not change elsewhere, right? So Americans are going to buy less American bonds. They're going to buy more foreign bonds because foreign bonds are now more attractive if their interest rates are the same and ours haven't now decreased, right? And then foreigners are obviously going to want to buy less of our bonds. Less inflow, more outflow, right? The capital account would definitely decrease if interest rates decrease, okay? And then again, if the capital account decreases, what happens to the current account? The current account would have to increase, right? It has to move in the other way, okay? All right, people, I hope that made a lot of sense, right? Because that's pretty much everything, right? That's it for the balance of payments. Let's do a couple examples here, and then I'll let you guys loose, and I'll let you guys hop onto Google Meet, do your problem set, and complete your Unit 4 test. So it says, number 2, balance of payments accounts record all of a country's international transactions during a year. 2 major sub-accounts within the balance of payments, called the current account and the capital account, aka the financial account. In which of these sub-accounts will each of the following transactions be recorded? Right, so they don't even ask you what happens to the current account or capital account, just like where's it recorded at, right? First, a U.S. resident buys chocolate from Belgium, right? So we get the chocolate, right? Belgium gets the money, right? It's going to decrease the U.S. current account, but they don't even ask about that, right? They're saying like which account? It's going to be the current account, right? We're talking about a good or service, We're not talking about stocks or bonds or real estate. This is recorded in the current account, right? Chocolate is a good or service. It's going to be in the balance of trade, which is in the current account. But people, this is an old FRQ. You're going to be asked to say like what happens to whichever account you identify, right? The current account would decrease. Money's moving out of the U.S. to Belgium. The current account would decrease. A U.S. manufacturer buys computer equipment from Japan, right? Computer equipment you might think is capital, right? Because it is a capital good. It's a tool. It's a machine. It's equipment, but it's not in the capital account, right? What's in the capital account is real estate, stocks, and bonds. If it's not that, right, or any sort of interest-bearing asset, it is not going to be in the capital account. This is definitely in the current account. Computer equipment is a good. It is a capital good, but it is a good. It is going to be an import. In this case, right, it's going to be in the balance of trade, and it's going to be the current account, right? All you'd have to say is the current account to get full points here. But in this case, the current account is going to decrease again, right? It's going to decrease again, right? We're buying goods from overseas. Money's leaving the U.S. We're getting the good, right? So again, both of these are current account, and both of these are current account decreases if it asks for that. B is what we did today, right? How would an increase in income in the U.S. affect the U.S. current account? Or they could, and on my Unit 5 test, I might just like not say current account. I might say, how would an increase in incomes in the U.S. affect the U.S. capital account, right? Well, if incomes go up, we know that directly affects the U.S. current account, because if U.S. incomes go up, Americans are going to buy more foreign goods. Again, they're going to buy more American goods, but that's not recorded in the balance of payments. The balance of payments is international transactions, right? So Americans are going to buy more American goods, but they're also going to buy more foreign goods for sure, right? And if we buy more foreign goods, that's more imports, right? That means more money is leaving the U.S., right? More outflow from the current account balance would decrease. So you'd say the current account and the current account balance would decrease, right? Because money's flowing out of the current account. But another, thing you would have to know, right, is the capital account therefore would increase. All right, the capital account would also increase if the current account decreases in the U.S. All right, again, more practice. I'll go through this a little quicker, right? We already did this. U.S. incomes go up, right? So current account decreases, capital account increases. All right. So another one, the U.S. dollar depreciates relative to the other countries, right? Our dollar gets weaker. Americans are going to buy less foreign goods. Less money is going to flow out of the current account, right? So our current account is going to increase, right? Our current account is going to increase. It's going to move towards a surplus, all right? If our current account increases, what happens to the capital account? Well, the capital account therefore has to decrease, all right? The capital account has to move towards a deficit. It has to decrease. See how we're doing this, right? And then if interest rates increase in Australia, but they don't change elsewhere, where's the best place to buy a bond? It's in Australia, right? Americans are going to want to buy more Australian bonds if their interest rates are now more attractive. So what happens to the U.S. current account? Well, you're like, Mr. Moore, that affects the capital account, right? The capital account's going to decrease. Americans are going to buy more foreign bonds. Money's going to leave the capital account, right? So our capital account's going to decrease, and therefore Australians, right, are going to turn around and buy our goods and services. Our current account is going to increase. Our current account is going to increase, and our capital account is going to decrease. Does that make sense? And then obviously Australia's capital account would increase, and Australia's current account would decrease. All right? Alrighty, people. You guys have been chilling in here. I think we'll move to Google Meet here at this time, and then I'll post problem set 5.2. I'll answer any questions you guys may have about problem set 5.2, and then probably around like 11:45 I'll post your test. I'll post your test around 11:45 for you if you guys want to get a little jump start on that. But yeah, I will see you guys very, very shortly.